I thought it was just another day on the job, delivering packages for UPS. Little did I know, I was about to be accused of stealing by a middle-aged white woman. Before I knew it, the police were involved, and my freedom was on the line. Here's how it all went down. I had been driving around all day, delivering packages for UPS. It was a hot day, and I was ready to be done for the day. I pulled up to a suburban house, got out of the truck, and walked up to the front door with the package in my hands. That's when I saw a woman watching me from her window. I didn't think much of it at first. Plenty of people are curious about what we do. But as soon as I stepped out of the truck, she came outside and approached me. "What are you doing here?" she demanded. "I'm delivering a package," I replied, holding up the box. I knew right away that she was trouble. It was Karen, the woman who lived in the big house on the corner. I'd seen her watching me from her window before, but I'd never actually talked to her. I tried to be polite, but I could tell right away that she had it out for me. "Can I help you with something?" I asked. "I want to know what you're doing with those packages," she said, pointing to the back of my truck. "I'm delivering them, ma'am," I said, trying to keep my cool. "I don't believe you," she said. "I've been watching you, and I know you're up to something." I couldn't believe it. I'd been doing this job for years, and I'd never had anyone accuse me of anything like this before. "Ma'am, I'm just doing my job," I said. "I don't know what you think you've seen, but I'm not stealing anything. I am literally a UPS driver." "You're lying," she said. "I have proof that you're up to no good. Plus, UPS doesn't deliver packages, only FedEx does." She also said, "That is quite literally not true. You're probably confusing UPS for USPS. UPS drivers deliver packages too." I tried to explain to her. I asked her what proof she had, but she wouldn't show me. She just kept insisting that I was a thief and a danger to the community. I tried to reason with her, but it was like talking to a brick wall. "I've had it with you," Karen shouted. "You're a liar and a thief, and I'm not going to put up with it anymore. I'm calling the police." My heart sank as Karen marched back into her house and slammed the door. I couldn't believe it. I'd never been accused of anything like this before, and now I was facing the possibility of being arrested for something I didn't do. I waited nervously for the police to arrive, trying to think of what I could say to convince them that I was innocent. But when they got there, things only got worse. "Ma'am, what seems to be the problem?" one of the officers asked. "This man," Karen said, pointing at me, "is a thief. He's been stealing packages from people's porches all day." "That's not true," I said. "I'm a UPS driver. I've been delivering packages all day, just like I'm supposed to." The officers looked at each other skeptically. "Do you have any proof of that?" the other officer asked. I showed them the packages in the back of my truck and my delivery schedule, but Karen just kept insisting that I was lying. "He's just faking it," she said. "He's trying to cover his tracks." I could feel my blood boiling. This woman had no idea what she was talking about, and now she was putting my job and my freedom on the line. "Ma'am, I don't know what your problem is," I said, trying to stay calm. "But I am not a thief. I am a UPS driver, and I am doing my job." Other residents on the street started coming out of their houses to see what was going on. One of them, an older white man, walked up to the police officers. "I've known John for months," he said. "He's been delivering packages to my house, and I've never had any problems with him. He's a good guy." Another woman, a younger black woman, spoke up next. "I've seen Karen watching John from her window," she said. "I think she's just paranoid or something, but John is definitely not a thief." The police officers listened to the other residents and looked at the evidence I had provided. Finally, one of them turned to Karen. "Ma'am, it seems like there's been a misunderstanding here," he said. "This man is a UPS driver, and he's doing his job. There's no reason to believe he's a thief." Karen looked embarrassed and angry. "But I saw him taking packages," she insisted. "Ma'am, we've talked to the other residents on this street," the other officer said. "They all vouch for this man. It's time to drop it." Karen muttered something under her breath and retreated back into her house. The police officers apologized to me and the other residents and got back in their car. My employer couldn't believe the story, and he excused me for not being on schedule after that. It was so stupid, but I'm so glad it resolved. I can't believe this Karen had the audacity to accuse this man of stealing just because he's black. And then she calls the police on him? That's just ridiculous. This is why we need to have more conversations about race in this country. People like Karen need to learn that not everyone who looks different is a criminal. I never imagined that the friendly couple who invited my son to playdates and sleepovers would turn out to be dangerous. It started with little things, too many gifts, too much attention. But when they asked to take my son away from me, I knew something was wrong. And then, one day, they showed up at my son's school, trying to take him without my permission. Here's how it all went down. I, 24-year-old female, am a single mom to my son, Owen, 8. It's been just us since day one. His father isn't in the picture and has been able to avoid child support for years now. Yes, I've tried everything. My own parents disowned me. I had to drop out of high school and have worked a myriad of jobs since then to keep us afloat. We aren't on the poverty line by any means, but we definitely live paycheck to paycheck in a one-bedroom apartment. It's not ideal, and I hope within the next couple of years, we'll be someplace bigger. For now, it's our situation. I've raised Owen to know that money isn't everything. We may not have a lot. He won't always have the newest this or that, but we have each other. The two of us are very close. He has never gone without the basics, but I admit, he doesn't get a lot of fun extras. I try to save a little here and there to make birthdays and holidays fun, but it's still never anything glamorous. And I think Owen was fine with that. Until recently anyway. In our area, all the public schools are based on a lottery system. So, your child has a fair shot of going to any of them, so long as you put in their name. Our neighborhood school is not great and in a pretty crappy area, so I decided to put him in a different one across town. It's near my job, so it works out. Last year when he was in second grade, he met Charlie. They began hanging out a lot after school, with Owen going to his place. I met Charlie's parents, Nate and Paige, a couple of times before this began. They seemed very nice and supportive. Owen always had a great time at their house. Charlie occasionally came to our apartment, but usually they were at his place, which made sense. I work, and there's really not much for them to do here, even when I am off. Summer breaks are easy to find care, as there are several free or low-cost camps that I can put Owen in. It's the shorter breaks, such as Christmas and spring, that are harder. Camp space is limited. Spring break of 2022, I managed to just miss registration. Paige is a stay-at-home mom and offered to take Owen for the week. I was hesitant to ask so much of her, but she insisted. He had a really fun time with them. They did a ton of activities and Paige refused my attempts to pay her back at least some. I couldn't afford all. I admit I did feel a tad uncomfortable with her spending this much on my son, but at the same time, I didn't want to deprive Owen of this stuff. Summer came and while I did get Owen into camp, he spent a ton of time with Charlie as well. He ended up going on vacation with them. I was again very hesitant, but the experience was something I could never give Owen, and it wasn't too far away. He had a blast. I kept telling Nate and Paige that there's no way I could ever pay them back, and they kept insisting that they loved having Owen around. They told me what a great kid he is, sweet, respectful. At one point, I really pressed Paige as to why she was so insistent on having Owen around so much. That's when she told me that they never planned for Charlie to be an only child, but all attempts at giving him a sibling just didn't happen. They know that Owen will never make up for not having a brother, but if they can give him a consistent playmate so he's not lonely, they'll do it. Should this have been a red flag? Maybe. But at the same time, I found it sweet that the boys considered each other brothers. I thought it was innocent. Surely Paige and Nate knew the truth, right? This continued for a bit, and come Christmas break of 2022, Paige and Nate insisted that I not even bother to try to get Owen into a camp. They'd take care of him for me. I was grateful. They ended up getting him more Christmas gifts than I did. I tried to set my pride aside because it was about Owen, not me. This is still when things finally started seeming off to me. I understood a gift on his birthday, and while they didn't get him as many gifts as they got Charlie, it was a lot more than you would typically get your kid's friend. Fast forward to now. Spring break was last week, and this time, Paige and Nate didn't just offer to take care of him during the day while I worked, they asked if Owen could spend the entire week at their house. Honestly, it meant I could pick up some more shifts and save up for the bike Owen wants for his birthday. So, I said yes. I went to pick him up on Saturday afternoon. The kids were playing out back, so Nate and Paige asked to talk to me. They sat me down and said they love Owen, and he's always such a joy to have. I thanked them profusely for all they'd done for him. Paige suggested that Owen stay a little longer. I pointed out Easter was Sunday, and school started up on Monday. They said they could take him to school. I felt weird and said no. It was time for Owen to come home. That's when Nate suggested that Owen stay with them long term. I could still see him, but they would take care of him. I thought they were joking and said, like what? You'd be his guardians or something? They got quiet and the reality rushed over me. I pointed out that this wasn't a movie. They can't just get custody. They started spouting some legal stuff about how I could assign them as guardians, and they would help make this transition smooth. They told me to think about Owen and what's best for him. I told them there was no way in hell I was going to give up my son. I grabbed Owen and we left. I've blocked their numbers. Owen has no clue what's going on. I'm keeping him home tomorrow and took the day off work to figure some stuff out. Legally they can't take him, but now I know what they want and I'm terrified. I don't want him going back to that school. Do we move? I'm so lost, and I feel so stupid because looking back, all the warning signs were there. I know Owen is going to be devastated losing Charlie, Paige, and Nate. How am I ever going to explain it to him? A commenter asked, maybe those parents have been turned down by foster adoption agencies. The OP replied, I've suspected this too. It seems like they don't want another child. They want Charlie to have a permanent playmate buddy. And I don't know much about the system, but if they were as honest as they were with me, I could see them turned down. The OP also said, I can take care of my kid. He's never gone hungry. The lights are always on. He has clothes, albeit sometimes from Goodwill or donations. We lived in our car briefly when I was 17, but I pulled us out of that situation and will never be in that place again. He just doesn't have an iPad or summer vacations. What he does have is love. His favorite stuffed giraffe that I got him when I was pregnant. A love for the park. He isn't deprived. He has a good life. I love him, and I'm never giving him up. The OP left the following update. There's no way I can respond to everyone, so I just want to say thank you for the advice. While I understand those saying they potentially meant well and weren't trying to be offensive, IT quote, still a risk I can't take. It's not like they offered to take him every so often. They wanted him full-time permanently. To those who said I should just let them, please pass me whatever drugs you are on. I will never give up my son. Do we have the newest this or that? No, we have our needs met. I love my son and I am not letting him go. As for everyone else, I took your advice and reached out to the school. I told them that Paige and Nate are no longer allowed to pick up Owen, and explained I do not feel safe with them around each other. They understood. There's not much they can do outside making sure they never pick him up. It's too late in the year to move classes, but next year, Charlie and Owen will not be in the same class. I notified the police, but again, they can't do much. We have zero in writing, and a simple request to have my child isn't really breaking any laws. Unfortunately, all I can do is hope they don't try anything. I still haven't spoken to Owen. I think it's fine if he talks to Charlie and plays with him at school, but I have to find a way to explain why they can't have playdates or sleepovers, as well as to never go anywhere near Nate and Paige. I guess that'll come in time. I'll update again if anything happens. I'm hoping this is the end. As some of Nate and Paige's defenders said, they did take my no well, so hopefully they realize how totally out of bounds they were and leave us alone. The next day, the OP left an additional update. Monday night, I talked to Owen and explained that Nate and Paige were not safe. He was confused, and I explained that they wanted to take him away from me. I think it spooked him as he started crying, saying he didn't want to leave me, and he didn't want to see them again. I held him and assured him he wasn't going anywhere. He understands he is never to go anywhere with them, and the school is taking measures to protect him. I said he could still talk and play with Charlie at school. He said he doesn't want to. I was honestly worried he'd hate me, but you all were right. Telling him the full story made him realize how serious it was. He understands the gifts and trips will stop and says he's all right with it. Also, I wanted to address one last thing. I've gotten a few people offering me money or gifts. Please do not do that. I am very appreciative, but that was not the purpose of this post. If you wish to do something, donate to your local shelter or other charity. Owen and I are not in need. I'd rather see it go to people who need it. I didn't see Nate or Paige at drop-off, nor have I gotten any contact, but then again, I did block them everywhere. Thank you all for your help. I'll update if anything else happens. Hopefully it won't. 4 days later, the original poster gives another update. I have tried to post this update in True off my chest, but it keeps getting auto-deleted. Since I have so many followers, I figured I'd update here and hopefully it gets around. Well, what everyone feared would happen, did. Tuesday, he returned to school. I told him he could still talk with and play with Charlie. I was hesitant to drop him off, but figured you can't live in fear. Most afternoons my son takes the bus to a local rec center for aftercare. I had already told the school everything and that Nate and Paige were not to pick Owen up. I managed to call and even make sure he got on the bus. Aftercare was also made aware of the change in pickup list. Well, half an hour later, I got a call that Paige had tried to pick up my son. The front desk refused to release him. They didn't say why, just that she was no longer on the list. She wouldn't leave, and the police were called. She was escorted out of the building. While she wasn't brought to jail, there is a police report, and I am using this to go to court and get an order of protection. Paige and Nate are also banned from the rec center, so if they do show up, they will get arrested for trespassing. The police are working on ways to protect us, and the local social services office has been made aware of the situation, so should they try to make a claim, they're aware of the situation. Relevant comment. Thank you. I spoke to him Monday evening, so he knew what he was walking into on Tuesday. It freaked him out a lot, and he said he absolutely didn't want to leave me. So, he's aware and knows to never go with them. This is terrifying. The fact that Nate and Paige were willing to take Owen away from his mother, whom he loves and feels close to, shows that they were not interested in Owen's well-being, but rather in fulfilling their own desires. It's disturbing to think that they may have seen Owen as a sort of plaything, rather than a human being with his own thoughts and feelings. It's important to remember that love and attention are not the same as possession or control, and that every child deserves to be treated with respect and dignity. I, 14F, am a dancer. Unfortunately, I am unable to attend classes often due to my family's financial needs. I am grateful to even participate in dance. I thought I did everything right. I worked hard, saved up my own money, and bought dance equipment that I had been dreaming of for months. But when my parents found out, everything changed. They sold all of my hard-earned equipment, and I was left with nothing. Here's how it all went down. When I had just turned 14, I began working at an ice cream shop to save money for equipment. A bar, Leo and dance shoes like my teacher suggested, stretching equipment, a gymnastics beam, and a few mats just for fun. I also did mini jobs on the side like mowing lawns, babysitting, and doing house chores for neighbors. This took so much time and effort, but I was eventually able to afford everything. I had told my parents in advance that I would be working to earn money for some fun equipment, and they had been okay with it. I ordered everything on Amazon excitedly. I had waited so long to click the place your order button. Everything was scheduled to come in a few weeks, and it finally arrived today. I brought the packages inside when my dad came in and asked what everything was. I told him I had bought dance equipment, and he looked angry. He asked if I had used their money, and I said no. I had been working for months, which was why I was out of the house a lot. He asked how much money it cost, and I said about $800. He looked livid and called my mom in. He said I had made over $800, and instead of helping them out, I had been selfish and bought things for myself. They then started screaming at me, saying how I should have helped them pay bills, or at least helped pay for my dance lessons if I was mature enough to start working and buy stuff behind their back. I had told them multiple times over the last few months that I had gotten a job and that I was excited to get new dance equipment. I had even told them right after I placed the order. They told me to return everything and give them all their money back. I told my friends at school. 4 of them agree with my parents and say it wasn't okay for me to not help them out. 2 of them say I worked hard and that I deserve to do what I want with my money. Relatives have called me and told me to just give them their money, and that I was being a brat. I even heard mom telling someone I was going through a rebellious teen stage and that I was a selfish thief. I don't understand what I did wrong, but I also feel bad because I could have used my money to help us out. Am I the jerk? Everyone votes that OP is not the jerk. Update post 1 on the next day. I have no idea how to update on You're the Jerk, so here's the update. Hey everyone, I just wanted to say that I really appreciate all the support, love, comments, and messages you gave me. I know it sounds cringy to say that, but they honestly helped me a lot, and it felt like a weight lifted off my shoulders. Here are the answers to some questions you asked. A lot of people asked if I could keep the stuff at a friend's house or my ballet teacher's house. I don't think I'll be able to ask my ballet teacher because my parents are saying they are going to take me out, but I can see if I can go to a friend's house. Some people asked if I know how bad our financial status is. Our status is complicated. We are in a good place to be able to buy good things, but my parents don't want to spend money on anything because they are afraid of going broke. They get money whenever and wherever they can, and a year ago, my dad asked a friend for a big loan because he said we were homeless when we were pretty okay. Some people asked if there was somewhere else I can live. No. A few hours after I posted, I went online and saw all the comments, and I was really happy that it wasn't my fault, because if it was, I would have felt horrible. I do still feel a bit bad, but it's okay I guess. I showed the comments to my parents, and they got angrier. They said they were going to take me out of dance as a whole, which was very disappointing. But okay, because I remember there is a dance option as an elective for school. I just don't think if I'm going to be able to transfer this late, and I won't be able to do it over the summer. They kept yelling at me for a while, but I won't include what they said, sorry. All of the above is okay with me. It's not that bad, but when I woke up this morning and saw all my stuff was gone, I almost cried. I ran to my parents' room and asked them where my stuff was, and they said they sold it. They pawned it all. I worked so hard for hours a day, every day of the week, every week of the month, and months of the year, and I waited patiently. And then I had to wait patiently for it all to arrive, and after what felt like years and years and years, it finally all came. I could finally see that my hard work paid off when I could see it all right in front of me. I never even got to use it. Any of it. My parents just sold it all. Just like that. All my money that I worked forever for, gone into their pockets, and not mine. I broke down in front of them, but ran away to my room. I will update when something changes. Relevant comments. A commenter asked, "Can you tell a teacher?" To which the OP replied, "It's spring break, so it will take a while, but I don't think it's that bad to have to tell somebody." Another commenter said, "Your parents are treating you horribly." And the OP replied, "My mom says I am treating them horribly for not paying them back after all they've done for me, paying my bills, letting me go to school, buying me food, and I'm just a brat. I just don't know anymore." A commenter said, "It's their responsibility to care for you." To which the OP replied, "I'm so confused, everything I'm being told is the opposite of what I've learned my whole life." A commenter suggested, "You need to report your parents." To which the OP replied, I'm scared to report my own parents. They will be mad at me if they get in trouble, and what if they don't even get in trouble? They'll hate me forever. I don't know what to do. The OP also said, I'm scared to report my own parents. They have done stuff for me even if they do some bad stuff, and I know they will be mad at me if they get in trouble. If they don't get in trouble then I'm doomed, so I have no idea what to do. Update post 2. 6 hours from previous post. Hi everyone, I wanted to post this update because I won't be able to post again for a while, but I can say this. I told my parents I was going to my friend's, fake name Cameron's house, and went there. I told Cameron's mom everything, and we went to the police. I'm getting help, and I'm learning that many things my parents do aren't normal or okay. I'm so happy I made that You're the Jerk post because I never would have learned that. So, thank you everyone for telling me. I might be staying at Cameron's house for a while. Thank you everyone. Relevant comments. The OP said, thank you. It's crazy how a bunch of people I don't know online are better than my actual parents. I do hope they won't send me back, and thank you for reading my posts. And I'll try my best to join the dance elective. The OP also replied to comments on her original post with, my parents sold my stuff and kept the money, but I reported them and found somewhere else to stay. Thank you. It's a safe place. It's definitely possible that there's an addiction or some other underlying issue at play here. Regardless, it's clear that the parents' behavior is not acceptable, and the OP deserves better. It's good to see that she's getting help and support from others, and I hope she's able to continue pursuing her passion for dance. If you enjoyed today's video, check out another video on your screen now. Submit your own stories at yourethejerk.com. Subscribe now, or you're definitely the jerk.